Are you concerned at all about the rise of digital modeling?
I think really everyone in the pedal market is kind of, I would say, concerned, if anything. I think it's going to take a big chunk of the market. I mean, it is. Really, it's not that it's going. If it is it going to,
Mm.
it is as well as the tube amp market. I mean, it just is. I always look at things like there's two paths. Like you can always stick your head in the sand and ignore it, and think it's not going to happen to me, and it's not going to happen to me, and then wonder what happens in 5 or 10 years. Or you can say it's going to happen. I need to make a pivot here. So what is that pivot going to be? Well, I need some time to think about this, and then go away from your guitars, go away from your everything, and just think. At least this is what I do. And I'll just write out, just get everything in my brain out onto paper. And I'm looking for what are the possible pivots that I can make that might make a dent. Like what are the things that I can do that might be a unique spin on things to keep others interested in my product, or if I need to start introducing something that I don't know how to do, how do I get to the people that know how to do that? So like if we're talking neural modeling, for example, if I don't know how to do neural modeling, well, who does, and how do I find them? How do I hire them? Right. So that's the most obvious operator question. The other thing you could do is, well, there's now open source neural modeling. So I can learn how to do that. I can spend 6 months and just be really good at neural modeling. So like, I think those kind of pivots are what's going to be required. I think the day of buying a kit online of some pedal and selling it on Reverb, I think others will do it. I just think that method is going to be really, really much harder to sell as time goes on. And it is now.
Mm.
So it's just
Yeah.
going to be a lot tougher sell as time goes on. Because like we said, I mean, you can buy like a $30 pedal now that's based off a rat, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever you want, really.
I guess another threat I was thinking about was, people, let's say, go to the shop, they buy a few drive pedals, they take them home, they capture them on their modeler,
Mm-hmm.
then they just send them back to the shop and return it, get a refund
That
within the
has,
7-day window, and they've captured the, or even just, I suppose, going to the community and downloading other captures of those pedals which exist
mm-hmm.
already.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's analogous to Napster. For those who remember that, that's where everybody had music that you just uploaded to Napster, and now no one needs to buy any more music. So, I mean, the question is, well, what do you do? Well, eventually Spotify forms. I mean, is that good? Not if you're an artist, it's not good. I mean, not really. I mean, not unless you're just using the music as a marketing tool. So like, for example, there's a lot of artists who they just put out singles. They're not really worried about albums. They'll just put out singles, and that single is just a marketing piece for them to tour, because, Spotify is not very good at recreating the artist touring, right? That's not going to happen. So the artist makes more money on tour. Ticket prices are more expensive, and $60 shirts are common, and Cokes are $20. Right. And I mean, there's downsides to that as well, but things always progress. Things always move in a situation.
Is that one of the reasons why I know that you've done at least one plugin of one of the pedals you have, right? Is there going to be an ongoing theme moving forward as a result of that?
Yeah. In fact, the next plugin is ready right now. I just need some time to get like the marketing side of it ready. So, it's I don't say what it is yet, but it's actually analog. So it's based off an analog product of ours, but it's a plugin. And it's going to be a fun thing to do. And, cool. I always wondered though, I'm not real sure why other companies don't do that so much. I mean, it's sort of in the reverse. I wonder why plug-in companies don't then also make a hardware version, because like it's kind of a different customer base. And if I'm using plugins, there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, I wish I had like a hardware version I could take with me. I don't want to drag my Mac to a gig,
Actually, I did a video on YouTube recently, my personal channel, and it was all about the best way to use a drive pedal with a digital modeler, in this case being the Quad Cortex. And I plugged it in the front before the input. And then I also plugged it in the effects loop of the digital modeler. And then I also captured it. And I did a lot of A/B testing of those 3 different options. And it was quite interesting because there are real strong pros and cons for each of those different areas. And I think there's still some way to go in terms of latency as well. That feeling of hitting a drive pedal, hitting a fuzz pedal straight away, impedance and matching, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It feels different. And also it does sound slightly different compared to the captures.
Yeah.
There's no way about it. So I was quite surprised as a digital first person.
Well, you probably have good ears. You know, I mean, it sounds like you have really good ears. And there's some people that can't hear any difference at all. I mean, myself, like you, like I can, if I don't hear it, you can always feel it. You know, even if it's just a little bit of latency, like there's just some sort of transaction between hitting a string and it hitting your ear that it's kind of like being in the other room, you know, and playing guitar. Like there's a little bit of a disconnection. And I think some players just don't care, you know, like, in fact, one of my family members, he plays guitar, and he came over here to play my Marshall, and he had, up to this point, like he was younger, and he had only played like plug-in versions of Marshalls, and he was like, I don't like this as much. He was so used to, like, he grew up and learned to play on like digital representations of what a Marshall sounded like. So being in the room with a 412 cabinet and a Marshall head, he says, like, I just kind of like the plug-in better.
Yeah. I did go into the digital world for quite a while, just using plugins through monitors due to living conditions. And I remember buying a new guitar, and I went to the place, and it was a really lovely shop, and they had a matchless combo as the demo amp to plug the guitar into, which is amazing. But it's also really unforgiving. And when you're used to playing digital and suddenly you plug into this boutique valve amp, I was like, wow, I'm a terrible player. So yeah, I was very surprised on that.
For some reason, if I play if I'm mainly like recording for, you know, a month or something, I'm just playing direct into the box. Whenever I play into a tube amp, my timing is off. You know, and it really messes with me just a lot. So, and it maybe it's be a me thing. Maybe I'm just like hypersensitive to that or something, but I've never really heard that many people complain about that, but I definitely notice a big difference. If I'm mainly focusing on playing through my plugins, then going to something that's truly analog, just the entire analog signal path, it really messes up, especially with picking fast.
So that was just part of my conversation with Brian at Wampler Pedals. And if you'd like to watch the whole episode with him, head over to my podcast channel, which is called Products of Music, which is available both in YouTube as well as your preferred podcast platforms. Other notable guests include Rob Chapman of Chapman Guitars and Daniel Steinhardt of That Pedal Show and Gig Rig. So hopefully there's some content that interests you there as well.